Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about 8 Alaska cruise mistakes that can ruin your vacation.
Yeah, we just got back from an Alaska cruise and we saw these things happening to people all over the place. Wanted to let you know what they are so this does not happen to you. So let's jump right in. And the first mistake you make is booking shore excursions that you won't be happy doing in the rain or the mist. And what happened was people booked shore excursions a month, 2 months, 4 months in advance. And there were things that needed to have good weather for, like helicopter rides, things like this. And we got there the day of, and it was just super foggy, super misty, raining even, and they did not cancel those. And the people were like, we got to go on the shore excursion. We paid $400 a person for this, $800 total, and we're not even going to see anything. It's going to be terrible. And they were really regretting that decision.
Exactly, and it's not, check the weather before you book your excursions. You really can't look at the weather months and months in advance. And just knowing that it's usually going to be raining or misting, there's a high likelihood. So I think the key here is being okay with doing your excursion if it's raining or misting or whatever out, because you can't really cancel them because you've already paid the money, but you can at least know in advance, like, okay, if it rains or mist, I'm gonna be fine with this, and then just kind of going with the flow.
Yeah, and if you're not fine with it, then don't do it, because that's what can make you upset, and that's what can basically ruin your vacation, because it's a lot of money. The next one is going to be spending double the amount on a balcony cabin when you could have got an inside cabin for half the price. And what ends up happening on these is people say, well, I'm going to get a balcony cabin, and then we're going to be able to see everything around the balcony. We won't need to leave our room. Well, unfortunately, you can't determine which side the wildlife is going to be on, and you will see people running out of their balconies and up the deck, and then just saying, we're just going to stay up here on the deck because the stuff's on both sides and we don't want to miss anything. So really, you're not guaranteeing yourself to see everything great. They'll call out, oh, there's orca whales on one side and you're on the other side. You're going to leave your cabin to go see it. So it does not guarantee you of seeing the wildlife if you get a balcony.
Yeah, it is definitely a mistake that people make, thinking, oh, I'll have a balcony, I'll get to see everything, I can just sit and watch everything in my pajamas. And you can't, because you're going to be rushing to get dressed to leave your room when they say, there's a pot of orca whales on the opposite side of where you are, and you want to see them because these are very unique opportunities. So it's not like you say, oh, I'll just catch the next one. No, this is a once in a lifetime, once in a cruise kind of situation. When they pop up, that's it. That's where they are. So you don't want to catch yourself running. We ended up just being up on the deck, and we were just moving from side to side. Whenever, they said that there was wildlife, we could just easily walk across, and we weren't going to miss it while trying to grab an elevator up to the deck that we need to go to, or go upstairs, or anything like that.
All right, the next one is getting on too big of a ship. And sometimes you might think the bigger the ship, the better. It's going to have more amenities. But in Alaska, the smaller the ship, the better, because they can go to places that the bigger ships can't go to. Now, most people consider the prettiest fjord to be the Tracy Arm Fjord, but there are limited ships that can go in that fjord because it is very narrow, and the big ships cannot do it. So when you're looking at the ships, don't think bigger is better. The smaller ship might be the way to go.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about that Tracy Arm Fjord also is even some of the smaller ships, depending on, what the activity has been in the fjord, might not even be able to go in. So just kind of knowing in advance, too, that it's a possibility you might not even make it into the Tracy Arm Fjord, depending on what's going on as far as, the ice in the water and different things like that, too.
Next one is going to be not checking the arrival times on your ship when you get into the ports. Alaska is getting very busy, and in some of the ports we went to, there were as many as 4 or 5 ships in port. Now, our ship had late arrival times. We thought that was pretty amazing because, we're going to be there from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at night. And we thought, well, we can sleep in, we'll get breakfast, we'll go out, come back, it'll be great. Better than getting there at 7 a.m. if you don't want to get up early. But what happens is the first ships in get the docks, and then the last ships in end up doing tenders to the port, and it becomes very problematic because then it can take them hours to get the people that have bought a shore excursion off, and you may not even get off the ship. In some cases, we weren't even able to get off the ship until 3 p.m., 4 p.m. because there was delay. One ship had trouble getting out of the port, and we couldn't get into a port until they left. So it's kind of a mess. Basically, the earlier the better if it's a busy port. Now, you can look up websites that tell you how many ships are going to be in port. So you don't want to be on a ship that's docking late if there's going to be 4 or 5 ships in port that day.
Yeah, I think this one is so important because Alaska during, cruising season is super busy, and we were so surprised to see so many ships at these different ports, and we were one of the unlucky ones who ended up, our ship ended up being there later in the day, and so we ended up having to use the tender, and like you said, our tendering was delayed because one of the other ships couldn't pull out of the port because of having some technical issues. So it's all very complicated. Again, it's cruising, so you have to stay very flexible because things are going to change. And so don't make, unless you have concrete plans, with an excursion that you booked with the cruise company, then just be careful with the plans that you make on your own. In Alaska, we're ones that generally really encourage people, to do their DIY excursions. Alaska is one where you're probably not going to lean into that.
Next one's going to be paying a higher price for a summer sailing, especially if you want to see the Northern Lights. And those are just not going to happen in the summer. You can see the Northern Lights sometimes. The best time to see that is around, the fall or the spring. Not going to happen at all in the summer. So that's one just to look out for. We heard people saying, oh, we really hope you could see the Northern Lights. And luckily on our cruise, we could have. Now, we did not see them ourselves, but I think a few people did. They were happening way early in the morning, and we had seen them many times before, so we didn't. But they were being called out on our cruise as possible Northern Lights sightings.
Yeah, I think that's one that sometimes people overlook, that it's an opportunity to do that, and they don't think about it when they're booking it, and they don't find out about it until later, and they're like, oh, we're going in the summer, and we're not going to be able to see the Northern Lights. So just keeping in mind when you'll actually be able to possibly see them, and booking your cruise around those times, because it really is such a unique experience.
All right, you got to bring binoculars. This is something that's very important. The wildlife will not be, in most cases, right up next to the ship. Now, a couple of times for us, it was right next to the ship, and it was amazing. We did not need binoculars, but a lot of times it will be much further away, and you're going to want to see them a little bit closer, so binoculars are the way to go.
Yeah, binoculars are fantastic. Don't think that you're going to look weird or whatever because so many people have the binoculars. You don't want to have to try to buy them on board or at one of the ports. It's going to cost you way more than if you just order some. So just, know that if you want to see some of the wildlife, you're going to want to bring some binoculars because they won't be right next to the ship.
Next one's going to be overpaying for internet. Now remember, this is Alaska. It's in the United States. When you're in port, you're going to have your regular cell phone service. You won't even need internet service most of the time because there aren't that many sea days on an Alaskan cruise. So you could probably get by without the internet on this. Now, if you're going to get the internet, maybe just get one package for the group of people that are going. You could save a ton of money on internet this way.
Yeah, I think this one is a key one. Just knowing that when you're in port, not when you're sailing, but when you're actually in port and the ship has stopped, you can just turn on your service and just use it. Again, Alaska is a part of the U.S., so you can easily use your regular U.S. service if you're from the U.S. and have a carrier with U.S. service. Now, you can also, if you're not from the U.S., you could easily just get a U.S. eSIM card and have that, and you can use that in the ports as well.
Next one is going to be drink packages. Now, drinks can also be had on land, and it is a very port-intensive cruise, so you will be off the ship a lot. That makes it very hard to make your money back on a drink package when you need to drink 4 or 5 drinks per day per person to kind of justify the cost of the drink package. It's hard to do when you're off the ship all day. You get back and you're like, well, I got to drink 5 drinks at dinner just to pay for this thing. Sometimes do the math. It may be better to forgo the drink package on an Alaska cruise and save yourself quite a bit of money.
Yeah, I mean, we don't normally get the drink package, and on one like this one, like you said, because it's so port intensive, you're off the ship a lot. Unless you're not going to be getting off at any of the ports, then you're fine, but you are off the ship a lot and seeing a lot of different things, and off the ship for hours at a time, usually, 1 to 2 meals, which might be the ones that you would be drinking, like lunch and dinner. So for the most part, it really makes very little sense to get the drink package.
Yeah, so these were our tips for Alaska. We really enjoyed our trip. We want you to do the same as well. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. If it was, please give us a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you on the next video.